There are places in Africa where the stones speak, where ancient walls rise as if shaped by the hands of giants, where kings ruled from citadels of granite, and where a civilization so advanced, so architecturally brilliant, forced European explorers to invent lies. Surely Africans could not have built this. They were wrong. This is the story of Great Zimbabwe, the city of stone, and Nubia, the kingdom of black pharaohs. These were not shadows of Egypt. They were rivals to Egypt, builders of cities, pyramids, and empires that endured for thousands of years. This is Africa before colonization. In southern Africa, between the Zambezi and Limpopo rivers, a city emerged around the 11th century. A city carved not from mud or wood, but from massive stone walls rising 6 stories high. This was Great Zimbabwe. It was a capital stretching over 7 square kilometers, holding around 20,000 residents, making it larger than London or Paris at the time. And it was all built without cement, without any iron reinforcement. Just perfectly cut granite blocks, fitted together with stunning engineering precision. When foreigners saw it, they asked, how could Africans build this? The answer was simple: mathematics, architecture, and genius. Great Zimbabwe is a city of 3 marvels. First, the hill complex, the royal fortress. It sits atop a granite cliff, where the king ruled like a falcon overseeing his domain. Then there's the great enclosure, the true masterpiece. A huge elliptical wall, nearly 250 meters long. Inside it stands a mysterious tower, shaped like a grain silo. It's thought to symbolize prosperity. Food was wealth, and the king was the provider for his people. Finally, the valley ruins, which were the heart of the city. This was where you'd find bustling markets, craft workshops, and the homes of traders and artisans. This was no simple tribal settlement. It was a global city. The very name Zimbabwe comes from the Shona words Zimbabwe, meaning house of stone, and its people commanded a vast trade network. They controlled the flow of gold, ivory, copper, and cattle. Ceramics from both Arab and Chinese workshops have been found here, traded for Zimbabwean gold. From coastal ports like Sofala, that gold traveled across the Indian Ocean to Arabia, Persia, India, and even China. How did a Chinese bull end up on a hill in Africa? Because Africa was already trading with the world. But this incredible civilization was denied its history. When British explorers found Zimbabwe in the 19th century, they couldn't accept the truth. They declared, this must have been built by Arabs or Phoenicians. Anything but Africans. Why? Because the truth was too powerful. It meant that Africans had created a megacity, mastered complex architecture, and led global trade networks long before Europeans arrived. Evidence was hidden. Artifacts were stolen. The entire narrative was rewritten. But stone does not lie. Great Zimbabwe was profoundly African. It stood as the capital of a wealthy empire, the Kingdom of Zimbabwe, until the 15th century. As its power shifted, a new force emerged along the coast. This successor state was the Matapa Empire, known to Portuguese sailors as Munhumatapa. Its influence spread from modern Zimbabwe all the way into Mozambique, and it held one critical weapon: absolute control of all gold trade heading to the sea. The crowns of Europe envied this power. They soon arrived, not as traders, but as conquerors. History would soon change forever, but we'll return to that story in a later episode. For now, we travel north, up the Great Nile River, to a place even older, even more foundational. We're going to Nubia. Before Egypt became Egypt, there was Nubia, a civilization thriving along the Nile's southern banks in what is now Sudan. It's so ancient that some archaeologists argue Nubia is the true cradle of Nile civilization, not Egypt. Its oldest kingdom, known as Taseti, appears as early as 3500 BCE. Nubia grew incredibly rich on gold, iron, incense, livestock, and Nile agriculture. And their archers were legendary, so skilled they were known as the Bao Men. They were feared, respected, and completely unmatched in their time. From around 2500 to 1500 BCE, the first great Nubian empire, Kerma, challenged Egyptian dominance. It had monumental temples, massive burial mounds for its kings, a centralized government, and highly skilled artisans and metalworkers. Kerma grew powerful enough to threaten Egypt directly and was deeply feared by the pharaohs. Egypt eventually invaded and occupied Nubian lands, But Nubia refused to be erased from history. After centuries of Egyptian rule, the Nubians reclaimed their land and rose again, establishing their new capital at Napata. And then, something truly remarkable happened. The Nubians didn't just fight Egypt, they conquered it. Nubians became the pharaohs of Egypt. This is the 25th dynasty, the dynasty of the Kushite pharaohs. The king Pianki united Egypt with brilliant strategy, not mindless slaughter. His successor, Shabaka, preserved ancient Egyptian religious texts that would have been lost to history forever. And then came Taharqa, the greatest of them all. He defended the unified kingdom against the mighty Assyrian Empire. Taharqa's reign was so influential that his name even appears in the Bible. The world often remembers the pharaohs as the figures in white statues, but for a golden age, many pharaohs were black, powerful, and proud rulers from Nubia. When the Egyptians, with Assyrian help, eventually pushed the Nubians out, the Kushite kingdom simply shifted its capital further south to the city of Meroe. And Meroe would change history. It became the iron smelting center of Africa. It was a hub of trade that connected routes across the Sahara and the Red Sea. And it was a kingdom often ruled by Candaces, powerful warrior queens. Yes, in ancient Africa, women were heads of state. Queens like Amon-Irenas famously fought the Roman Empire to a standstill and won peace on her own terms. Did you know that Sudan holds more than 200 pyramids? That's over twice the number you'll find in Egypt. They are smaller, slimmer, and uniquely Nubian, symbols of a distinct identity carved in stone. Yet the world still rarely talks about Nubia. Why? Because history is loudest when it's told by those who conquered last. So what do Great Zimbabwe and Nubia really prove? That Africa engineered advanced cities. It built kingdoms older than many in Europe. It controlled global trade routes. It was a leader in iron technology, architecture, and administration. It preserved knowledge and culture for millennia. Africa had golden empires, mighty armies, universities, and was ruled by queens and pharaohs long before colonialism ever began. The story is so often told backward, as if African history only began with slavery and struggle. But that is not the truth. Africa was not a victim first. It was a builder first. Thank you for watching. If you want to uncover more of the true history of our world, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. We'll see you in the next one.